When I won, the King of Sweden reached out and congratulated me.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. We had like a week of celebrations. I was on every TV show and just celebrating, and we're bringing the trophy everywhere. At the end of that week of celebration, we had a big event on my hometown, a small little town in Sweden, and basically the whole city came out to celebrate. It was like 15,000 people on the streets just celebrating me and my wins. That was yeah, definitely really cool, because that's the thing, you know, being from Europe, being from Sweden, you race here in the US, and I know how big it is here, the 500 and everything, but to see actually how much it meant for people in Sweden was really, really cool.
So when you won the Indy 500, you said it was the greatest feeling there is. How does it change your life as a driver to win a race like that?
I mean, for me, all my career, you sort of obviously dedicate your life to racing, and you live abroad, and you know, you don't see family and friends much at all, because you're just so dedicated to try and succeed in motorsports. And just to participate in the 500 was a dream come true, since it's the biggest race in the world. So that was a big achievement, just to participate, and then to eventually win the biggest race in the world, get your face on the Borg Warner Trophy, and all that. It sort of makes all your sacrifices, all your time, everything you put into this, it makes it worth it a million times over. So for me, that was the biggest thing, sort of a relief and unreal feeling, and you know, all that work been put in was meant something there.
Does it change how people interact with you? Like, the next day, do you feel it? Are there different opportunities coming in that hadn't come before? Or is it back to the job? Other than Detroit being right there.
Yeah, I mean, racing is a weird sport where you're never as good as your last race in a way. But the cool thing with the 500 is that you would forever be a 500 champion. So in some sense, it changed the theory of your career, because you always will have that 500 win. But also, you know, it puts a certain amount of expectation on you as well, that you are a 500 champion. You should deliver as a 500 champion. You should always be there in the mix. And I've been proud to do that as well. You know, like the years after my win, you know, I finished second the year after, almost won it back-to-back, and then second again this year. So I've showed that I'm strong around that place, and strong when it matters the most.
Yeah. Where did the Kumla Dragon nickname come from?
I don't know. Like, it came, I think it was some journalist that named it like a dragon with the way I was defending that win. So yeah, it was cool.
Have you stuck with it since?
Not really, no. That was like the one and done move that I did that year, I think.
Okay.
Before Marcus was Indy 500 champion, he spent 5 years in Formula One. It was a huge challenge, which he'll explain shortly. But to get there, he first needed the right people to back him.
When you were climbing the junior ladders, what was it like having a guy like Kenny Bräck, if I'm pronouncing it right?
Yeah.
What was it like having a guy like him backing you early on in your career, like someone you had watched on TV and now is supporting you?
Yeah, it meant a ton, because I did go-karts and didn't really have a financial opportunity to continue my career. And then Kenny and his group of investors and people stepped in and sort of saw my talent, and really helped give me the opportunity to be a racing driver. And also, you know, throughout the years we were working together, me and Kenny, we worked extremely close together. He taught me a lot in my early years, where you learn so much. So it really helped shape me the way I am as a racing driver, and I'm very, very thankful of that. And obviously, like I said, I was growing up watching Kenny. I watched him win on TV with my dad, you know, back when I was a kid. And to follow in his footsteps and be the second Swede to ever win the 500 was a really cool moment.
Yeah, it's pretty special.
Yeah.
Before you came to IndyCar, you were in F1. What did that period teach you about yourself as a person, as a driver? What were the big things you took away from it?
I think mentally to be in F1 is really tough, because, you know, F1 is so much about what team you're in, what car you're in. And I was there for 5 years, always running in smaller teams with less resources than the big teams. And mentally it was tough to, you know, being used to fighting for wins every weekend, and suddenly you're in the back fighting for P15. And just that sort of change of focus was really tough mentally to get used to. And I never really got used to that. It was really draining to, you know, never feel like you succeeded. Even if you maximize the result and finish like 8th or whatever, still didn't get the same feeling as winning a race.
It doesn't feel like the win.
So it was tough. It was tough. But I'm still, you know, very happy I did it. It was an amazing experience. And to be able to say I did 5 years of Formula One racing, 97 Grand Prix, it's not many people that can say that. So I'm very proud of that. And I'm very lucky to have had the chance to do both Formula One and now IndyCar.
Well, I mean, I think on that, right, there's a lot of drivers who have even come in IndyCar who have maybe gotten as close as F2 or reserve driver. To have many years in that is already a huge accomplishment. Is there any advice or like maybe something you would say to people about coming here instead as a really good opportunity or a good pathway?
Yeah, especially in Europe, a lot of people are so focused on Formula One because it's the ultimate goal and everyone wants to be a Formula One driver. But I think that's the thing. Like, there's many other series that's also very fulfilling and very cool to drive. Like, obviously IndyCar, I love it. I think it's amazing. But even, IMSA, WEC, like all these series, there's a lot more to racing than just Formula One. So I think that's the biggest thing. When I was in F1, I was so focused on that bubble of Formula One that you sometimes forget how many other cool things you can do in the motorsport world.
Speaking of doing cool things, now that you're here, how did that differ from that time in F1? You said obviously it was mentally difficult in the F1 seat when you weren't in as dominant of a car. When you come to IndyCar, what changes?
I think one of the big things for me was just the opportunity, right? In IndyCar, everyone had the same cars to work with, so every weekend you have an opportunity to win. And just to have that mindset going into the race weekends was big for me.
Yeah.
It really gave me a lot of energy to work even harder and prepare even more to be back in victory lane. So that was, I think, the biggest thing. And then just the American type of racing is a little bit more chill in a way. It's still serious, but it's just like a bit more feel-good versus F1, which is so like bloody serious in every moment. So that's also been really cool.
Have you mentored any other younger drivers to come over? Or?
The biggest one is my youngest brother, Hampus. He's a racing driver. He's 12 years younger than me, so I've been sort of coaching and mentoring and managing his career.
What's it like being an older brother, having had your career already so far and have all that experience and like watching him follow in your footsteps?
It's really cool, and obviously I try and teach him from the things I learned throughout my career, because racing is a very special industry, and it's so many hard decisions to make, and you have to pick the right path to go down. So it's been really fun to be part of that and try and help him succeed. This year he came over to the US for the first time racing here, so he's racing in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Championship here in the US, and they won a few races and fighting for the championship. So he's been doing really well, and we're trying to get him to IMSA eventually. So a dream of mine is to do Daytona 24 hours together with him and share a car. So hopefully one day we'll do that.
So now that you're in IndyCar, you're with Andretti. It's obviously a very special name to be wearing on your uniform. What does that feel like? How does that affect you as a driver? I know, like in this mental game kind of thing.
Yeah, it was really cool to just joining Andretti and joining that legendary name and get to know Mario a bit, and Michael and Marco and the whole Andretti family. It's been really cool, and just represent them on the motorsport stage. It's been I'm very thankful for that and proud of that. So it's been really cool. I wish we had done some more better results together, but we still have time for that.
Yeah, and then coming from Chip Ganassi to here, like, was there a difference between the two teams that you felt in terms of that legacy or anything else?
Yeah, I mean, it's two of the best teams in the series, and I think both do their things a little bit differently. So, but two super teams, very good people, good teammates. So in many ways, it reminds of each other as well.
We tried this one time where it was like 7 back-to-back.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Sweden, obviously. You raced in Europe and Asia. You then moved to the U.S. We've heard you loved Indianapolis and love living there. Like, what are some of the things about that that's special, and what are some of the things about back home that you miss and wish you were seeing more of here?
Yeah, the living here in the U.S., since I joined IndyCar, I straight away went to live here in Indianapolis. So I haven't regret that. I really love Indianapolis, and it's become home for me and my wife.
Was there anything that like stood out to you immediately when you got here? Like, this is really weird?
No, I think the people in Indianapolis are super friendly. I think the fact that people drive everywhere is very different in Sweden. We walk a lot more than U.S. people in general. So that's, just some different culture things. But Indy is a super easy place to live in. I really enjoy it. It's obviously the home of IndyCar, so it makes a lot of sense being there. Yeah, of course, I miss family and friends from back home. Naturally, that's a big thing. But now, since 2 years, we have a big house in Indy, so I have family and friends come over and visit, so that's been really cool.
When you go back home, is there something that you're like grateful to finally have? Maybe it's walking everywhere, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, it's mainly the people that I miss. Sweden, it's beautiful in the summer, but we never really go there in the summer because that's when we race. So
it's dark and cold.
Yeah, when I go there, it's always a winter, and that's the worst time to go to Sweden because it's super dark and cold and miserable. So it's mainly as I go there for the people, seeing family and friends that I don't get a chance to meet so much during the year. So I think that's the biggest thing that I missed, living over here.
You never wanted to be a DJ with all the cold like snowy nights in Sweden?
No, I mean, I don't really miss that. You know, I prefer the weather here in Nashville where it's hot and sticky over the cold and snowy Sweden.
Fair enough. A couple of years ago, you drove your wife Iris around in a pace car.
Yeah.
She was screaming the whole time.
Yeah.
Did she ever get revenge on you for that?
No, not really. I mean, I usually drive when we're like road tripping or so, but she's a good driver actually. So she just don't like to drive with me because she's like, I'm trying to help her too much. It gets big arguments. So
You're
yeah,
the backseat
usually,
driver?
yeah, 100%. So usually I drive, which is it's good for the peace and quiet of the car ride.
Did she pick the music then?
Yeah, both. But we have a good mix of that, you know. Let's put it that way.
All right, last question. Looking back at this whole season, what's a highlight for you?
Not many, unfortunately. It's been a tough year for us and for me in particular. It's been just one of those years where things just pile up going in the wrong direction. I still would pick the 500, finishing second there. You know, finishing second is the worst place, really, but it was a good effort from us, a good month of May, and I'm proud of that, proud of our performance there. And then whatever happened after happened, but like I'm still proud of that performance that we brought on the biggest stage for the biggest race. So I still would pick that.
Then maybe looking at 2026, like what do you want that year to be?
I need to find my consistency. You know, I was proud of being a very consistent performer over many years in IndyCar, always finishing in the top 10 and being up front. And you know, we've lost that this year, so we need to find back to that consistency and winning races again. So that's a lot of work is required this off season to get back to that, but ready to put the work in.
Well, all right. Well, thank you. This was great.
All right.
Appreciate it.
All right. Cool.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to check out our full playlist and to subscribe to the channel for more racing content just like it. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.